Well guys, I thought I had the weather planned out for some perfect hay baling, but last night we got a light dusting of rain. It was nothing too bad. So this morning I waited until the sun got up and I went out here and checked, and really only the top very layer of what I tedded yesterday was just the slightest, had the slightest bit of dampness to it. So I got in here and tedded it this morning, tedded everything. In some places I turned it over a couple of times and got a complete different video out there on tedding, but it's just really hard to get it where it's all spread out. It starts to bunch up after a while when you start moving it around, but I think I got it. I'm going to go ahead and windrow it and get it baled before there's any more danger of it getting wet. I'm trying to get you at a good angle here so you can see the color. So we obviously got some browns here. That's nice and ready. And then a little bit of green. So that's what you want. Just a hair bit of green. And I don't even know if the camera can pick it up. I'm trying to hold it in the sunlight because that's where your nutrients are. And when I windrow it, it'll turn it over again. And before I can get to bale it, then it'll get a few more minutes to dry out. But it's looking good. It's going to be the highest production hay that we've ever had out here at Piney Grove, just because we had some decent rainfalls this spring, and then I fertilized it really, really well. That right there, I'm conserving and letting those seeds go to head. I want to make some mulch for the house with seeds in it so it'll reseed itself. And then I'm saving this over here for a demonstration of a flail mower versus a brush hog in thick grass. So I'm saving those two sections. But look how tall this is. I tedded this, and because it's just a cut through in between here, I didn't have a lot of room to spread it out to dry. So I tedded it the best I could without throwing it into the green stuff, and we've got a real tall pile of hay there. That's got me excited. That's probably 3 or 4 bales right there. All right, let's jump on the Summit tractor with the IBEX belt rake. And we're gonna put on the attachment that actually makes the windrows as opposed to tedding, which doesn't have a hay blocker. And then I got the trailer and the Kubota ready because instead of trying to move 1 or 2 bales at a time with the side-by-side, we're gonna use my equipment trailer right there behind the Kubota. And that way we should be able to only touch it once, put it on a trailer, get it under cover, and then either deliver it to my neighbor for his horses or he can come pick it up. This is adjustable in and out, and how far away this is how wide your windrow is. And the baler, the IBEX baler that we use, likes a narrow windrow to pick up all the hay. Because if I don't pick up all the hay, you guys are going to comment that I left too much hay in the field. We'll try that. That might be a little too tight. What I really like about this belt rake is that I can push the windrow all the way across the field if I want. Like if the hay is too thin, I can take the width of this belt rake, fill it up against the hay blocker, and if that's not tall enough or enough hay to make it a worthwhile windrow, I can just go grab some more hay and bring it into that windrow. I don't know if that makes sense, but you can't do that as easily with those big wheel rakes, and I've used one of them. The biggest problem I see for a big wheel rake and these mini hay balers, these mini round hay balers, is that you got to get that windrow real tight. And the wheels, you get those wide wheels, they want to gather too much hay, and then it'll actually block the exit of the hay outside of the wheels, and it'll bind up. And I did that a couple years ago here with one of those wide wheels, and I bunched it up and didn't look behind me and didn't know it, and I was just dragging a mountain of hay behind me, and I had to take it all out of the wheels and kind of line it up in a windrow by hand. With this belt rake, you don't have that problem at all. I think it's the perfect hay rake for small hay producers like us. Let's get this rake spinning though. That was just a test of my windrow and also to clean up a little bit of hay along this pond bank. Now I'm going to go ahead and create my first windrow. That's a nice, tight, compact windrow. And then I'll come down this side on another pass and create another windrow and maybe leave a little bit of grass here and then rake it back from this side to make that a little bit taller. That's looking real good. I'm happy with that. As I thought it might, the camera overheated and that last segment got cut off. And while I was waiting for it to cool, I just went ahead and raked everything. You'll see the rows behind me, and they're intentionally not straight because if you want to get them straight, then you got to spend a lot more fuel and time. But the belt rake allowed me to get these rows even because the grass is a lot thicker in some places than it is the others. And with a belt rake, what you can do is you can create like a row here. This row was too thick, so I broke it out into a second row, and then I moved all the rows back and forth with the rake by either going to the other end or this end, and I can move that row any way I want. I can move these rows 4 feet over, a foot over, 6 inches over, and you can't do that with a wheel rake. And I'm just really glad we have a belt rake from Tractor Tools Direct. I'm glad they talked me into it. I could have had any rake that they wanted to send me, but I said, send me what you think is the best. I said, I'm going to let you set me up with a hay package. And they did, and they were spot on. The drum mower in the other video, I think it's the best mower out there for hay. And this belt rake, and I think because the customer base for this type of equipment is small acreage. You know, you're not trying to cut hundreds and hundreds of acres every year with this type of equipment. You could, but it'd take you forever, right? That's for the big ag farmers. What this is made for is for small acreage, and the maneuverability and the ability to move these rows any way you want. I mean, I got a garden over here, I got a woods line over there, I got a pole barn over there, and I was able to get all these rows pretty much straight and pretty much even. Like some of them have a little bit less hay than the others, but I could have took some time and moved some hay around. But that's what you get with a belt rake that you can't do with a wheel rake. So you can see them all behind me here. They are ready to run the baler over, but I'm not ready to run the baler because I've been out here. It's easily 100 degrees, probably 110 degrees heat index. Luckily, I have a Canopy on that Summit tractor, so thank you, Artillian, for sending me that Canopy. But I'm going to hook up the baler and then take a break, and the next scene you see is going to be the baler sucking in some of that hay. I think we're ready. Let's go!